I'm Karen Hurt, and I'm here with our next edition of Asking for a Friend. And this question came in from a program that I was leading just last week. And this company hires a lot of people for whom this is their very first job. So 16, 17, 18-year-old folks. And yet, this question is so relevant for any manager or supervisor that is leading people who are interfacing with the public on a regular basis. So here it goes. How do you ask your staff to stick to policy, but also provide an excellent customer experience by having some level of flexibility? This is so important, right? Because first of all, you have policies for a reason. Let's assume you have good policies, because if you have dumb policies, you want to make sure you're changing them. So you've got good policies, so you want people to follow them most of the time. And we also know that most of the time that when you're dealing with the public, there are always extenuating circumstances, and some of these policies may have some flexibility. And you don't want to handcuff your frontline people so much that they do not have any flexibility, so that they are constantly escalating any issue to their manager. That creates a massive frustration, both for the customer and for the frontline employee. So a way we like to think about this is it all comes down to setting real clear expectations with your team about what flexibility they actually have. We like to break it down like this. What are your hard lines? What are your guidelines? And what are what we call your lines? So let's talk about this, break it down. When you say, what are your hard lines? These are your policies, either for your customers or for your employees, that are absolutely non-negotiable. There's either a compliance reason for it, or there's a safety issue, or there's some other reason that you must, from a consistency perspective, keep everybody aligned on reinforcing that policy every time. Hard lines. Then what are your guidelines? What are the policies that you have a little bit of flexibility on, and why, and help people understand where that flexibility would come in. Help to transfer your leadership mindset to say, when I see a situation like this, this is how I weigh the circumstances to try to make my decision. So it can really be helpful to actually make up some scenarios that are very realistic, and in a staff meeting, play with these scenarios so people understand this guidelines area. And then, of course, there's what are your lines? And this is anything that you really want your people to have personal discretion on, and the choice is really up to them. And depending on the kind of work that you're doing, you may have a lot that are in the hard lines, some that are in guidelines, and nothing that's in the your lines. Or maybe if you were a very customer-centric organization, you're going to really want to empower your frontline folks to have a lot of flexibility, and so that your lines category may be very large. So, but the key is make sure that you have these conversations with your staff, you play through some scenarios so people are showing up with confidence, because if they can't feel like they're interfacing with their customers with confidence, that is going to definitely take down your customer experience and frustrate your employees. So great question. Thanks so much. What would you add?